right now we're in this environment where too many people are pointing fingers at big tech for what are actually government shortcomings. It's like blaming car companies for polluting when you don't have the right emission standards or haven't created the EPA yet.
I think that's exactly right. I think competition policy in this country has not been a focus for a long time. This is the first antitrust hearing of this scale in 50 years. Congress just hasn't been paying attention to this, and in particular hasn't been paying attention to this industry, which has network effects, which has scaling effects that people have been talking about for a long time, but just hasn't crossed the government's radar. I think this is a pretty important inflection point and probably a pretty big turning point in terms of proposed regulation and potentially even proposed remedies like breakups.
Yeah, I think the focus is off. We're talking about this as being the heat on big tech. It ought to be the heat on Congress. I mean, these CEOs are doing their jobs. You might not agree with the results of exactly how they're doing it, but they're operating largely, not always, within the rules. And Congress, I would argue, hasn't been doing its job in making laws that actually address the dynamics of today's economy, right? But it's kind of hard to put the heat on Congress unless it's the first Tuesday in November.
I think I'm probably one tick over the line from you there. I agree with you. Congress has not done its job, but the European Union has been looking into these companies for years. They have been sanctioning Google for years. They have been investigating Apple's use of the App Store for years now. They just opened a new investigation into that. Congress has not been doing its job, but that's nothing new. But on the other side, where I disagree with you is the companies have spent millions of dollars furiously lobbying for these rules not to be changed. The rules as they exist now are in their best interest. They have been squashing competition. I think these hearings tomorrow, the committee is very interested in making sure that we all know that it's an investigation. Representative Pramila Jayapal told the Verge McKenna Kelly today that they are investigators. They have 1.3 million documents. They've got receipts. This is going to be a very different kind of hearing, and I think the committee is going to show that it's not just good business. It has been a pattern of abuse to crush competition as these companies have achieved scale. So I think you can definitely blame Congress. I mean, that's fun. We should all do it. It's definitely going to be theater. You wouldn't be getting your money's worth if there wasn't a little bit of grandstanding from Congress. But at the same time, these companies have invested a lot of money making sure the rules favor them.
Hey, Nilay, I'm so glad that you bring up lobbying. It's Deirdre, by the way. Lobbying spend at record levels for 3 of the 4 companies last year. What has that actually done? Does that contribute to the reason that Congress hasn't done anything?
I think to some extent, yes. I think also, you just look back at, these CEOs appearing before Congress over time. There's just been a lot of excitement on the behalf of Congress to say, look at our innovative American tech industry. You guys are so great. You're young upstarts. What we want is for Google to come and put fiber in our district because there's a little bit of excitement. There's a little bit of feeling like you're doing something innovative. But as the companies have achieved the scale and more people have felt the effects of that scale, we're seeing more stories about the App Store crushing small businesses or Facebook ads being used to enable counterfeit products, or Amazon essentially committing misconduct before Congress and saying they weren't making competitor products as they saw products become more popular. Those stories are beginning to affect more and more people, more and more businesses. I think that lobbying is getting less and less effective.
Now, Nilay, whether you believe that this is performative theater or will lead to, real changes, different laws, certainly we are all getting our popcorn ready to watch because we've never seen these 4 CEOs of some of the most powerful companies in the world appear together. Who are you most looking forward to seeing up there? Is it Bezos because it's his first time?
It's absolutely Bezos because it's his first time. And I think just in terms of the show of it, Mark Zuckerberg has done this a lot, for better or worse. He's getting good at it. He has a rapport with some of these politicians. Sundar Pichai, Tim Cook, very gentle personas, very reassuring. They have a pretty narrow range of emotions. Bezos, we haven't seen up there, and we know that he's pretty fierce when he needs to be. So we'll see if they can push him into reacting, which I think they're going to try to do.